Greetings, friends. I've had an inspiration to share each week something from my altar. My bedroom has become, in many ways, my sanctuary, my church, and I record many videos from this chair where I do all of my Zoom gatherings. I have a lot of different art and objects around me that I have collected that are my altar, my workspace, part of the nest, I guess I could say, that I've created to hold me in this work that I'm doing right now of cultivating the Helen Keller Spiritual Life Collaborative and of cultivating the life that I'm called to live. My suspicion is that we all create this. I wonder if you're in your room right now or your space, if you look around, you might find a picture or a painting or an object that carries some kind of emotional charge, that carries some spiritual weight. I wonder if you sometimes can think about your own life as a process of creating altars or cultivating sacredness in your own home, in the place where you live day to day. I've always been conscious of this, but I think probably when I was working in churches, sanctuaries built by communities to honor the sacred and to live into sacred work together, I didn't think maybe as intentionally about my personal space. But now that my personal space is also where I'm cultivating church community and cultivating sacred experiences, I'm really aware of what has formed around me. And interestingly, the way I care for it and the way I neglect it. Part of what motivates this series is I just spent some time cleaning up here and was noticing some of the neglect that had occurred. We had a pet that recently died and had been sick for a while. There was some debris from all of that tumult. There was laundry that I just couldn't put away. It's quite a thing when your sacred space is also your bedroom, because there's a lot of other things that happen there that need to be taken care of. But at the same time, as I noticed all of that neglect, I realized certainly there have been times in my church life where there has been neglect in the buildings that I have been caring for, or communities have been caring for. It seems like the reality is when we have sacred space, it's work. It's work to maintain it. It's work to care for it. And it has to be sort of continually renewed. Life has to continually be put into it, life energy, to care and maintain that which we honor and respect. And it's useful to be sensitive or aware of those cycles. So I've become aware of those cycles in my personal space. I am certainly aware of those cycles in the life of the church, cycles when communities are really caring for their space and loving it, and then times when there's just not enough resources or care or life energy, to put into maintaining those spaces. And that all of this is a natural rhythm and a rhythm that we can learn from. So in my effort to make worship life and life worship, and my effort to look for the sacred in the day-to-day and the everyday, I feel really excited to kind of honor the sacred space I'm creating and hopefully inspire some of you who listen and follow along to what I'm doing to look around your space and consider what you have placed in your space and what that says about your spiritual life and your calling and your way of connecting to God. I often have the sense that if we just stopped and noticed what was around us, that everything we need to hear from God would be present and is present. It just takes a tuning in, an attentiveness, and an intention to look. So that will be my intention with this altar space series, and I hope you'll enjoy seeing some of my altar, and I hope you might share some of yours. So the first thing I want to share is this mandala that I created. You may recognize this is those dot paintings that are very popular now. You can find them at Michael's. You get a little kit with a bunch of little jewels that you are instructed on where to put them in. My sister got very interested in this dot art, and she's one of my, if not my closest friend and confidant, and I often am inspired by her creativity. So I got into it as well, and creating this one felt particularly special because it's a mandala. And my grandmother, Melissa, before she died in the last few years of her life, really enjoyed coloring mandalas. You know, you can buy those mandala coloring books. She really enjoyed coloring them, so much so that the basement walls in their house were just covered with these mandalas that she had created. And it was very soothing to her. And she had said to me actually earlier in life, she had made me a latch hook rug that was like this beautiful sunburst. I'll see if I can find a picture of it to share in this post. But it was a mandala shape, and she shared that was her perception of what God looks like. She really saw the mandala as that divine image, which, of course, many of this world's spiritual traditions see the sacredness in this mandala image with all of its diversity and intricate uniqueness, but also shaped around a center point, and then expressing out, which is so resonant with this idea that we all come from the same source, but then we burst off into all of our myriad differences. So anyway, to have this mandala in my altar space, it reminds me of my sister who I love so much. It reminds me of my grandmother. It reminds me of, I don't know, I love that it's dot art, and it connects me to just that playful kind of childlike spirit of creating. And it's a beautiful mandala and a recognition of that way in which the divine operates. I also had a powerful experience my first year of undergraduate college when I was at Wesleyan University. A group of monks visited, and they created a sand mandala in the student center. And that was a hard year for me. I only ended up staying there a year, and I dropped out really with just deep existential angst about why I exist and what the purpose of life is. And watching those Buddhist monks in that student center diligently crafting this beautiful mandala that then, of course, they swept away, and the impermanence of it really had an effect on me, and was maybe a sacred touchstone in a very difficult time of my life that helped me stay tethered to this earth and helped me to connect to the divine, something bigger than myself, at a time when I felt very alone and isolated and afraid of life. So that's my first installment of this Altar Space series. Let me know if you're enjoying it. Let me know if you have something that you took notice of in your space, and you'd like to share it with me. I would so love to hear it. And let's just see what unfolds over these next few weeks. I have a lot of things on my altar, so I'll have a lot to share and a lot of stories to tell, and I look forward to telling them so that you can know a little bit more about me and what I care about, and hopefully help you feel comfortable thinking about what you care about and how you're creating sacred space around you. I hope you're having a good summer, and we'll talk soon. Blessings.